In three, two. Welcome, three, two. Welcome back to Toyota Sports Talk. Oh, we are getting so close to those Paris Olympics. And as always, the DMV will be well represented in this year's Summer Olympics. A lot of different athletes from different sports from the DMV will be going to Paris and trying to compete for those gold medals. One of them joining me tonight, we have Claire Collins, originally from McLean, Virginia. She is a rower. This will be her second Olympics. So, Claire, first of all, congratulations. How you feeling?
Thank you. Feeling good. Yeah, getting excited. Coming up on it.
Two-time Olympian. I guess let's start there. What can you learn from your first experience in Tokyo and kind of bring it to Paris?
Learning a lot. Tokyo was my first senior national team for the rowing team. So a lot of stuff learned there. The stage is just bigger,
Yeah.
obviously, at the Olympics. So learning the nerves, learning not to get distracted by all the, fun gear and media and everything that surrounds it, and just really focusing on what we have to do on the water. So yeah, excited to stay focused but also enjoy the process. Obviously I'm more experienced, older this time around, so I'm excited for that.
So for our viewers that aren't too familiar with rowing, what events or event are you competing in Paris?
So I will be in the women's 8. So there will be 8 rowers and a coxswain. So it's technically 8 plus. So there'll be 9 of us in the boat together. So we have the smaller person telling us what to do in the front of the boat, and we race backwards. So it'll be 2,000-meter race. But the U.S. has all 7 women's boats qualified for the Olympics. So there will be 7 different types of women's boats racing, and we're the only country to have that at the games.
Now, I was doing some research, Claire, and it looks like the women's 8 for the United States traditionally have done very well in the Olympics. I think they've won 3 straight Olympic gold medals, and then in Tokyo, didn't find the medal stand. So it seems like there's a point of pride here for the women's 8 to get back on the medal stand.
Yes, for sure. It was one of the most dominant sports teams, I would say. I know many people don't hear about rowing all the time, but the U.S. women's 8 didn't lose at an Olympics or World Championships from 2006 to 2016. So it's a great legacy to uphold. I think sometimes teams need a little time to rebuild and reshape, and that's sort of what's happened in the last couple of years. And so, yeah, we're really, really itching and excited to get back on that medal stand.
I'm curious, Claire, like how much do you and your teammates talk about kind of the tradition and the legacy of the women's 8 to kind of uphold that?
A decent amount. So the great thing is we have a range of ages, I guess, in our boat this year. So we have some that are 23 and have just come out of college and are really the new face of this team. We also have Megan Musnicki, who this will be her 4th Olympics, and she was part of 2 of those gold medals. So we have that tie to the legacy and the experience, but we all realize that each year is different. Each boat is unique. Each set of people bring a whole new perspective and urgency and strength to each team. So we're really looking forward to not just holding on to the legacy and appreciating that, but really making it our time and our own experience in our own race. So there's a little bit of learning from it, but also recognizing that we're completely different people and this team is different at this point in time. And so, yeah, we want to make our own moment.
Claire, what's it like representing the United States in this type of stage?
Pretty incredible. It's pretty surreal. Oftentimes when you're kind of down in the trenches and working hard every day, it is hard to recognize that sometimes. But as we get closer, I feel like each of us are sort of really taking it in at different moments and able to sort of pick our heads up and look around and see it's going to be pretty cool to be part of this Team USA and yeah, definitely represent this country. It's dream come true.
This DMV region, big time rowing community. I always see boats and rowers out there on the Potomac and to represent this region. You're from McLean. How special is that, Claire?
Very special. I mean, nation's capital.
Right.
Nowhere more central than that. And you're right, there is a great rowing community in the DMV and the DC area, and it's just growing even more too, which is awesome. So there's a lot of great athletes that come out of the area, and I'm especially thankful for it because for the national team, we train in different parts of the country outside of the DMV. But in COVID, I spent 6 months at home, like a lot of people.
Yep.
And I had the opportunity on the Potomac with a bunch of local rowers and continued to get better and train. And don't think I could have made Tokyo or continued without that. So I'm especially thankful for that experience.
Now, so for our viewers, you actually went to boarding school and that's where you learned to row. So it wasn't actually here in DC, but you actually kind of fell in love with this sport in boarding school in Massachusetts, right?
Yes. Yes. So I was a swimmer growing up. That was my if you were to try to find my 10-year-old self somewhere in in the DMV, that was my spot. So I swam at Highland Swim and Tennis Club in McLean, part of the massive
Yep.
circuit of summer swim clubs that we have in the area, and then continuing on to some club swimming. Played a bunch of different sports growing up, but started rowing, tried rowing in high school, which is pretty common. High school or college is usually the start. So, yeah, that's where I fell in love with it. Met a lot of really cool people along the way. So yeah.
A big part of, training and getting ready for a big event is visualization. So I'm curious, like, have you allowed yourself to visualize having maybe a gold medal around your neck, being on the podium with your teammates?
For sure. I feel like at this point, there is really no risk in being as positive, and whatever you want to call it, manifestation,
Yep.
um, extreme goal setting, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, this is something that's been a goal of mine and in the back of my head for several years. But yeah, there is a moment now where it's like we have the boat, we have the people, and what other countries have qualified. So we have all the countries in the lanes, and I can really visualize the race. Some of us even kind of at the end of every practice, sort of as the last 2,000 meters of our practice tick down, think about how that race is going to go. It is a really powerful tool. And we'll do more group boat visualizations to get us on the same page as we get closer. But yeah, it's definitely something that I've, had going every day now as we get closer.
I certainly appreciate the intensity, of your sport because, the vocalness from the coxswain, barking orders, telling you to go faster and harder toward that final stretch. What is that? What are those emotions and moments like? I mean, that's just going to be magnified at the Olympic stage.
Yes, so true. The biggest difference for us at the Olympics is the crowd. So because rowing is like our race will be about hopefully 6 minutes going
The
down the
goal.
course. So depends on the boat you're in. But it's a straight track. So it's straight 2,000 meters, and the crowd can really only be there and be heard for the last 250 meters, basically. That's what usually the Olympic stadiums are built for. So, and we don't usually get that at any other international race or national race. So it's going to be, hard for us, but good to practice tuning that noise out and really listening to our coxswain. And like you said, there's a lot of emotions at play, but we actually practice sort of taking those emotions out, staying very logical in terms of what we've practiced every day, the motions, the synchronization. We call it flow, like a lot of the rhythm and flow that we work on. And so it's really actually important in those moments to dial in and not get too hyped up or too distracted, because then we lose each other. So it's it's valuable to use the excitement, as long as the logical side and the sort of in your boat side doesn't go away.
So what river is it going to be on in Paris?
It is a man-made course
Oh,
about 30 to 45 minutes east of Paris, I'm
okay. So
pretty sure.
have you guys competed on that before?
Never.
Okay.
We haven't been there yet.
So
We've
how does
seen
that
lots of
work? Like,
pictures.
do you try to mimic that stateside at all? Like, how do you kind of train for that?
Definitely a little bit. Most courses are similar, but weather is a factor in our sport. So we really take care to think a little bit about how the wind is going to be on that course. So apparently it's a crosswind most of the time, which we got a lot of here in New Jersey. So that's
Okay.
great. Great preparation.
Yep.
So we do take a little bit of thought to that part of the process just to be prepared for any type of weather conditions. And then when we're there, you can sort of sense where the landmarks are on the course, and things like that, because we don't look outside of the boat during the race. So you have to sort of just feel out of periphery what the landmarks are to where you are in the race. But so yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I'm going to be watching these women's eights, and I know a lot of our viewers will be tuning in. So what position are you going to be on the boat so we can kind of pinpoint you?
I will be the sixth seat. So the coxswain, you'll notice, is the only one facing forward down the track. So if you count her, I'll be the third person in,
Okay.
or the sixth person from the back of the boat. So we count from the bow,
Okay.
which is why I'm the sixth seat. But either way works.
All right,
And
we'll be
I'll
watching.
have a blonde braid if that
Is
helps.
that's your signature look? The blonde?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Good stuff. Claire Collins from McLean, Virginia. Go get that gold medal. We'll be watching. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Scott.
All right. Much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with us.